Hello and welcome to Funny Science Fiction, the live edition.
I love it. Nick's the only one dancing tonight. The rest of us are like,
last week it was all the rest of us. This week it's Nick. But hey, welcome to the Funny Science Fiction live edition of our podcast, where our jokes missed the mark like they were shot off by a bunch of stormtroopers.
Oh, I would say that hits, but it doesn't.
It could, but it doesn't. It still.
I feel like it's supposed to hurt, but it missed the mark.
It still hurts badly. Well, mostly because I know it's true. I think that's the worst part, is that I know it's true.
You know, but we think we're funny, and I think that's all that matters sometimes.
My mom thinks I'm funny. I don't know. Well, that probably doesn't count. So anyway,
funny looking.
Well, we got that going for us.
Look at us go. Nick's just like, and I don't know why I'm here.
John, Nick, I missed you.
You just missed his mustache. You just lived vicariously through his mustache.
Well,
John, you have my contact info. You could always just...
It's not like you're friends or anything.
FaceTime me for mustache pics. That got creepy.
Wait to be.
So does one of us want to introduce the videos, or?
Hey! So, we would like to thank our show sponsors tonight. First, River City Teas.
All right, River City Teas. With over 700 designs to choose from, River City Teas has something for everyone. Need some new nerd merch? River City Teas has you covered. Need funny or sarcastic designs? River City Teas has you covered. Are you looking for a new logo or custom design? Whether you need 1 or 100, River City Teas has you covered. With multiple colors and options for each and every design. With things to choose from like shirts, hoodies, phone cases, coffee mugs, and so much more. Be sure to follow River City Teas on Facebook and Instagram. If you do, you'll get the latest on designs and information about upcoming sales. River City Teas. Let's make a shirt together. Because I didn't want Nick to be the only one dancing when he came.
I was dancing this time too, don't worry.
All right.
I was going to say, it brings out the geisha in me.
That's oddly specific.
Yeah.
All right.
Not where I needed my night to be going. Thank you very much. All right.
And our next is
the coolest sponsor in the world, Galaxy. Coolest sponsor in the galaxy, I'm pretty sure.
much better. All right. Level up lightsabers. Here we go. All right.
Video ever.
That's pretty cool. I like it. All right. So, well, let's see what we've got going on here. So we've got a couple of former guests waiting in the wings. Now, we've been talking about these guys for the last couple days and promoting it out on Twitter and on Instagram and all the places that we could. So I'm excited to bring back 2 of our former guests. We have Element 7 and Darth Chocolate here with us tonight.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hey, welcome. Glad you guys could be here.
Hello,
Yeah.
Red.
It's great to be here again.
Can I just say real quick that man, that video from Master Allen, I've never seen that before.
I've never seen it either.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, that's
awesome.
We may have boosted that from his website.
Okay.
I mean, I told him I was taking it, but I don't know if that really counts as boosting it. But yeah, I took it from his website, and
I might be so as well.
yeah, it's really cool. It's very well done, especially at the end where she chooses to become like the Sith, and the whole thing with the facial effects. And
Was that a Sith or was it it looked like a Night Sister, like with the markings. I'm not sure.
Oh, let's watch it again. We'll find out. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm calling Dark Side Corruption on that one.
That's what it looks like to me.
I liked it. You never have to really ask me to play that video again because every time somebody's like, "Oh, you have a video for that?" I'm like, "I sure
Oh,
do."
yes, I do.
Click. So it doesn't take much.
Should we just put it on like an hour loop? And...
I could actually.
There.
I could.
I wouldn't be opposed to that at all.
Don't.
If
tempt
we
me.
ever have guests fall through, that'll just be our live show. It's just an hour loop of Level Up Lightsabers video.
Watch us do this again, and here it goes.
Now
let's
we're
see.
gonna play it backward.
The Jedi Council podcast says, "Oh, you've got some good guests coming on, and good friends with Element and Choco. So I love seeing you have these guys on."
Yeah, that's our buddy Connor. He's a good guy.
Hi,
Shout out to
Connor.
Great supporter, part of the family.
There you go. All right, so now I know that you guys have your own shows, but I know that you guys do a lot of stuff together. So before we get into tonight's topics, you guys want to talk about both what you do separately and what you do together?
Sure.
All right.
Go first.
Yeah. So I have my own podcast. It's called the High Ground Podcast. It happens live every Wednesday on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Darth Choco, as well as it gets uploaded later to all the places, Spotify and all that good stuff. This week should be super awesome. We're doing a whole women in Star Wars, and I have like an awesome panel of guests coming on. So that should be a lot of fun. Other than that, yeah, just covering Bad Batch, and have another podcast called Dyad in the Force, but I will let Element talk about that.
All right.
Yes. So I am Element 7, and I'm most notably known on TikTok at _Element7_, and I just answer a lot of Star Wars questions, correct factual misinformation, and just generally try to promote a positive Star Wars experience for new and old fans, especially old fans who are disgruntled and have kind of found this...
Love that shirt.
I've found a recent not recent, but just a proliferation of hate and negativity in Star Wars, and we need to kind of get back to just celebrating Star Wars and just talking about what we love. And of course, we have Dyad in the Force every Saturday or Sunday, depending on Choco, but it's every weekend officially, and we talk about all of the current events and news from the Star Wars galaxy, and we cover Bad Batch recently, and so with every show coming out, we'll be covering that on a weekly basis as well. And we are now currently in our final qualifier. This coming weekend is our final qualifier for a Dyad trivia tournament. Coincidentally, sponsored by Level Up Lightsaber as well. The winner
Excellent.
of that tournament will get a lightsaber from Master Allen.
What?
Fantastic.
Again, Dyad what?
Dyad in the Force.
Oh, okay.
Last week we did our High Republic era quiz, and we've had qualifiers for each era thus far. And so this week is our Potent Potables category, which is Solo, Rogue One, Rebels. Well, we did Rebels, but Resistance, all of the side stuff in the Solo films.
Oh, cool. All the outlier stuff. All right.
Yes.
Nice. All right. Excellent. Now, I will say that I subscribe to both your guys' solo stuff, and I watch Dyad as well. Jump in when I can and say hi to you guys. And so the reason I had you guys on individually back when we had you, and you guys, by the way, you guys can watch their solo episodes. If you go to our YouTube channel and you go back, you'll find individual episodes for both of these guys in there that you can rewatch, and you'll find out why I wanted them on the show. You probably already saw a little bit of it right here. I love talking to these guys. I love their positivity when it comes to Star Wars and all those things. Now, I sent you guys a list of kind of some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about tonight, but I want to throw you a little bit of a curveball. Okay? Because
Let's do it.
I was flipping around through TikTok, and Choco, I landed on one of your videos.
Was it when I had my inner geisha?
No, it was not when you had your interrogation.
All right,
That might have helped and made it a little more relevant, but no, that wasn't it. You were talking about the rise of Skywalker. And so I want to talk about perspective a little bit when it comes to Star Wars and how we view the Star Wars universe and things. But you were talking about perspective and how somebody else's perspective affected the way you viewed The Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that TikTok actually kind of hit home with me because that's the same thing that happened with me for The Last Jedi. So I had a couple different guests on who actually really, really liked that movie. And up until that point, I was on the, I wouldn't say hate, because hate leads you to the dark side, but I was pretty darn close. So if you don't mind, talk a little bit about perspective when it comes to Star Wars. And Element, feel free to jump in on this topic as well. You know, how does perspective affect your view of Star Wars?
Yeah, I mean, all of us we're watching all these through the lens of our own personal experiences and personal biases and whatnot. And one thing I've noticed that is pretty constant throughout Star Wars fandom is that, you know, prior to walking into a movie, we have our own headcanon on what's happening before the movie or after the movie. That's what happened with the prequels. People had their own headcanon of this is what the universe should have looked like before these. We got 3 movies that didn't look like that, but they still told their story. And, you know, we see a lot of love for them now. Rise of Skywalker was, well, it still is at the bottom of my list. And funnily enough, Rogue One was actually below Rise of Skywalker for a long time.
Interesting.
Now,
Okay.
on my podcast, I went through every film and I found people who that was their favorite film. Just gush about how much they loved it, why they loved it, what parts of it spoke to them, and all that. And then afterwards, I rewatched the film and I see all this extra stuff that I've never seen before because my experiences would never have made me seen that. And you know, Rogue One jumped up a few spots. Rise of Skywalker, I went from active dislike to I enjoy the film. It's still the bottom of my list. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think it's fascinating. I mean, I think a big example of this is the whole Rey Skywalker thing, her taking the last name. Until I met someone who, I mean, several people, one person being adopted, and having found family and that meaning so much to them. Other people have been kind of disowned by their family for, you know, one reason or another. Being adopted, brought into someone else's family meant so much. After seeing that, how can I dislike that? Seeing how much it means to someone, you know?
Yeah, I get that. And honestly, that's one of the perspectives for me. I'm actually adopted. So having that perspective on it, having some, because, you know, by birth, my last name was Riley. Now it's Bicycle. So having that piece of paper that says, you know, somebody loved you, wanted you, is it's a big deal. And so, you know, so I kind of understand that perspective as well. Element, you were going to say something?
Yeah, the biggest thing we have to, you know, take into consideration when thinking about how people enjoy films is that it largely comes down to how they empathize and relate to the story that's on screen. And a lot of times that viewpoint can be severely affected by outside sources, and that is like an external bias. So a lot of times, like, you know, I can speak for myself and probably Choco, we walked out of that theater in The Last Jedi. We were like, this is the best thing since Empire Strikes Back. We love this. Give it a couple of days, there's some hate videos on it, and now everyone is marching to the same fife, right? They're every time I talk to someone about The Last Jedi, it was always the same talking points from the same couple of videos. And you know, there's something we have to realize is that a lot of people have a lot of influence, and when they watch these videos and they're watching fights in slow motion and they're picking things apart, and not for the simple enjoyment of a movie, but to just find something wrong, then the rest of the audience that hasn't seen the movie will go into that with that lens. And so the new fan goes into The Last Jedi with eagle eyes on the throne room fight scene, and they're looking at Rey kicking three guys, even though she doesn't. It severely affects someone's perspective. And so, like, as Chaco talks about his list and how things shift as he talks to people who love those projects, and mind you, I'll clarify for him, we both share a tier system, and and towards the bottom of that tier is just our least favorite. We don't have dislikes. And so like the top of that list is our absolute favorite and the bottom is like the least favorite, but it's not like this is our most hated film or
It's still
disliked.
Star Wars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. No, I like both your guys' perspective on that. I think it's important to hear outside voices when you're critiquing something, instead of listening to what you just have bouncing between your own ears, especially if it's been tainted by someone else who has, as you said, gone into it with a negative viewpoint. So I think that's a good thing. So, and by the way, go ahead.
It does happen
Kathleen.
so much too, where you think it's so good, and then you're watching YouTube reviewers, and you're like, oh well, maybe it's not as good as I thought it was. Maybe I missed that. That's not as cool as I thought it was, and that's so sad to me that you allow somebody else to destroy your joy when it was no, this is a Star Wars movie. It's Star Wars. Why are you upset about this?
Yeah, and then one other thing is another reason why I love to focus on what we enjoy about things is because it's just so much better of a conversation.
Yeah.
Like Element said, I feel like there was like 5 YouTube videos that everyone was quoting the same things from. So whenever I'm hearing people talk about what they don't like, it's the same thing. It's the same conversation every single time. And I ask, okay, cool. You're not a fan. That's okay. What did you enjoy about this? And everyone brings something different and unique. And it's like a vibrant and good conversation.
I will straight up admit episode 2 is my least favorite, but it's still Star Wars. I still love it. It's just when I'm given the collection of which Star Wars movie do you want to watch, it's not going to be my first choice.
Yeah.
See, and I typically skip Phantom Menace. So
I do enjoy the Yoda, when Yoda first comes out with that flourish, and I'm just like, oh dear.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally speaking, that movie does not make it up on the top when it comes to like.
And it
what
is
should we
fun
watch
too
tonight?
when you have the different generations of Star Wars fans. You have the people who saw the original trilogy first. You have the people who, right? Yeah, Tim's an old school Star Wars, whereas I was a kid when the prequel trilogy came out. So Tim and I have vastly different views on Star Wars. That I love Jar Jar Binks because I'm supposed to, like, and that sounds wrong, but I was the little kid who was watching Star Wars and laughing hysterically because Jar Jar steps in poop. Like, that was
You were the
my
age group.
Star Wars.
It tracks. It tracks with what Chaco said. I'm pretty sure he's gonna say it, so I'll let him say it.
Oh no, I was just gonna quote George Lucas and saying I think I may have gone too far in a few places.
Yeah,
Maybe a little.
I was gonna say Chaco likes to say this thing where if you grew up with the originals, your story is about Luke. If you grew up with the prequels, your story is about Anakin, and so just that dichotomy in and of itself is going to change how you see the entire story.
Yeah.
And so it tracks definitely. Like if you're a fan of this or a fan of that, like what is the story most emphatically about to you?
Yeah, but even
It's-
like
Go ahead.
Is the thunder coming through now?
hearing a little bit of it, yeah.
Oh yeah, actually.
Sorry,
I thought that was Vader.
I'm just laughing as I'm like hearing it in my headphones with the oh man, that's echoing through this time.
No, I was going to say, even if you, if Phantom Menace is released, even if the movie forgot to actually have a protagonist, you have to admit that, when Maul's second blade comes out and the music hits, like that's peak Star Wars. If
Right.
I could
I
modify
got
my
hyped for that.
car, if I could modify my car to sound like Sebulba's Pod Racer, I'm doing it. I don't even care the cost. If there's any mechanics out there, hit me up.
Chris Fliss says it's good to see the Dyad live.
That's our good friend Cal.
And I'm over here and I just watched Star Wars from chronological order from episode 1 all the way through, including the in-between cartoons and
Oh.
Oh yeah.
I need to
Connoisseur. I like
yeah.
it.
Well,
I'm like, I'm gonna just take it all in at once.
well, the thing that what Element said earlier about what Choco's saying is, if you grew up with the original, Luke was your story, and that was true until the prequels came out, and then it was all. I think that my story with the Star Wars universe has changed as they've added it. My perspective, my view of what the story is about has changed. The original trilogy is about the arc of Luke. The prequels is about the arc of Anakin.
Mhm.
You know, and so I think that for me, it's consistently changed. And you add in, Clone Wars and Rebels, and then there's all these other things that kind of add to that storyline. And so it's not just that one character that I'm so focused on anymore. And besides that, I was always more of a Han Solo guy anyway. So
Yeah. I mean, everybody has their favorite characters, and you'll hear this a lot from people who are detractors of the sequels. They'll say, like, George Lucas has said that Star Wars is about Anakin Skywalker, and I don't listen. All respect to George Lucas, but I don't really agree. I think Star Wars is the story of Star Wars. It's a story of family. It's a story of people who are trying to fight for what's right, what they believe in, and each trilogy is just an isolated story of that, with connective story through lines and narrative, of course. But like the originals is the story of Luke and how he redeemed his father, and then the prequels is the story of Anakin and how he rose in the ranks of the Jedi Order only to fall, and then the sequels was the aftermath of those stories, and it was about Rey coming to terms with her legacy and finding and choosing the one that she wanted. And so
yeah, absolutely.
To choose one main character throughout the entire saga, I feel is a disservice to each and every story that's
And I can,
told.
at the same time,
Unless
I can
it's
see where
Han
he's
Solo, and then it's
coming
okay.
from.
So.
Make
Like,
Solo
I
2 happen.
I can
Exactly.
see where George Lucas is coming from. That Anakin is the main character, because it's his story from the original being Luke redeeming his father and Anakin coming back, and then the prequel being Anakin's story, and then even the sequel trilogy being the aftermath of Anakin. I
Yeah.
can see how he can say that Anakin is the main character, or the main character of the storyline, but also there's so much more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll say what John just brought up about the Ewok movies. Like,
Ignore
the Ewok
John.
cartoons
Ignore
have
John.
some heavy nostalgia for me. And, like, even the Great Ewok Adventure, it scared me as a kid, but I still loved it. And it was kind of like the horror of Star Wars.
I fell in love with the teddy bears.
Yep.
They are really cute.
I
I love Ewoks.
I've threatened John with a banning for this before, but we may have to go through it.
See, and I think
I give them
think
3
too-
yub nubs up.
I think too, because I watched them as a kid, and so it was I found which characters I thought were the cute ones. Like, which ones are the ones I want to be my friend? So it was I love Ewoks. Ewoks are adorable. They're cute little teddy bears.
Yeah.
Jar Jar Binks is adorable. And then they introduced porgs, and it's like, but porgs.
I had
Porgs are
the
friends, not food.
Right? I need that on a shirt.
I had the exact opposite reaction. Where I've always loved Ewoks, but for me, I've always been aware of, yes, these are like little people and children in the costume, but like if you suspend the disbelief, these are sentient bears. A bear this size is stronger than a human. They're smart enough to build traps, and they have weapons. Yeah, that's terrifying. You ever played Ewok Hunt on Battlefront 2? It's not a picnic for anyone except the Ewoks, and
They
I
have
still
clothes to
maintain
fit people, so obviously they've killed people that size.
they had like the whole rotisserie thing ready for Han and Luke, and
Yep.
at the end they're celebrating and singing. They
They
don't
had
know about the greater galaxy's problems. They just got a lot of meat and they're happy.
They had a dress ready for Leia, so clearly somewhere along the line,
That's so true. That's one of those nitpicks that, like, if we were going through original trilogy hate back then, it's like, where'd you get that dress?
Unless they've got
is
really
absurd.
good Ewok seamstresses that we just don't know about.
I mean, they did have hoods and stuff like that too, and they're like, "Oh, she needs something a little finer," because
Maybe there was like an Ewok fashion designer that when he saw Leia, he's like, my muse.
Yes.
eyes got real big.
work.
Ooh, yub yub.
There's a tall person. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, so we'll get back on track into some of the things that we wanted to
How is this
discuss
off
tonight.
track? This is
It's
us.
not off track. It's Star Wars.
You know
It's
what?
never-
It was probably just an elaborate Ewok wedding gown or something.
Oh.
So make it
or
like
the-
a train. Yeah.
Or the seamstress's dream of one day an Ewok growing to be that tall.
Oh, see, there you go. And by
Maybe
the
there'll
way,
be someone on the Ewok basketball team. Just saying.
nice. I kind of like this Connor guy, by the way. Just saying.
He's so supportive and he's always there. We love him.
You
All
don't
right.
have anybody that'll tell you that they like you and that they think you're cool.
Your point is what?
That I like you.
All right. So
Still here for a reason.
we had a couple weeks back with some other guests, we tried out some Mad Libs live on the air, and I found some Star Wars Mad Libs, and so I thought, oh man, how cool would this be to have two of the biggest Star Wars guys that I know do some Star Wars Mad Libs with us, just because, I mean, why not? So, and apparently Kathleen's playing Thunderstruck by AC/DC over there.
I can't control the weather.
So, all right, so
I'm
there's
just going
11
to start muting, apparently.
there's 11 topic or 11 questions on here. I'll call out one of the items and have you both give an answer. I'll write it down and then I'll read your stories back to you. Okay?
Awesome. I love
All right,
Mad Libs.
Yeah, exactly. They're silly, they're fun. All right, so number 1, I need a name.
Dryden.
All right. Choco?
Salacious B. Crumb.
Salacious B. I think you're just trying to see what I can
Why was
spell.
I thinking of Dryden
Okay.
Voss there? So weird.
You can call him
All right,
Sal.
number
for short.
2. I need an adjective.
Quick.
Okay?
Obese.
That will get it. That will be
We're
interesting.
starting with obese, salacious B. Crumb.
All right. A verb, please.
Swing.
Okay.
Scoot.
All right. A silly word.
Star Wars related.
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
I know, but
With a silly word like kumquat.
Purgle.
Purgle. Okay.
I'm trying to think of a Star Wars related one. All I can think of is Razzle Dazzle.
Ooh, I like
Fair
it.
enough.
If it's silly to you.
It's a silly word. All right. I need a noun.
Wookie.
A blaster.
That won't be awkward at all. All right. All right. I need a plural noun.
Force pikes.
Okay. 4 spikes.
Yub Nubs is the only thing that comes, which doesn't count. Let's just say lightsabers.
Okay.
I haven't done English class in a long time.
All right. I need a verb ending in ed.
Yub Nubs.
Defenestrated. Shout out to Mace Windu.
Fenestrated. Okay.
Now I can only think of that word. Let's say loved.
Loved. Okay. I
Figure I'd just go with the opposite of his.
There you go. I need a noun.
Bowcaster.
Okay.
Whistling bird. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah. Chidori.
All right. I need one more noun. I almost said whistling bird.
You need one more whistling bird? Oh, Choco's got some pipes.
Starship. Can I change that to A-Wing?
Sure.
Get more specific.
Sarlacc.
Sarlacc. Okay. All right. One more verb ending in ed.
Bisected.
Punched.
Punch. You say punched?
Punched, yes.
Okay. And last one, I need an adjective.
Squirrely.
Okay.
Sickly.
All right.
I really wanted the R2 scream in there somewhere. Like,
You'll have to replay that from last week. Last week we had the Matman show on, and he read from the book of R2D2 live for us.
Because I used my pouty lip and said, please.
All right, so Choco, we're going to read yours first. Because I went by how it appears on the screen. You're on my lower left, closest to me, so you drew short stick. All right, so I need this piece of paper, not the other piece of paper. That wouldn't help me very much. All right. Darth Salacious B. Crumb looked at his master while his obese breathing filled the room. He was told to go scoot everything on the planet of Razzle Dazzle.
I would go to that planet.
He got in his Wookiee and jumped to hyperspace. Like I said, it got awkward. Soon before he reached the planet, he dropped out of hyperspace and was attacked by, rebel lightsabers. He loved them off and continued to the planet's surface.
Boy, jumping in Wookiees and loving off rebel lightsabers. Oh, boy.
He landed and confronted more opposition, slicing it down with his bowcaster. He used the A-Wing to choke another rebel and then punched him aside. He finished off all life on the planet with a sickly laugh.
That ending, though, Chef's kiss.
All right.
That's
good.
That was funny.
That was good. All right.
Choco,
Next.
remind me on this week's Dyad to try to love someone off.
As I fill the podcast with obese breathing, yes.
You know, that was so descriptive, though. I know what that sounds like.
The A-Wing choke.
A-Wing choke got me.
And Choco's going down over there. Choking on whatever he's drinking.
That's okay. I almost sprayed my screen there a second ago.
I'm almost concerned mine won't live up to that comedic gold that we just witnessed.
I don't know. The getting in his Wookiee part was pretty good.
I don't know. 'Cause where did the winged bird fall in on yours? So
We're going to find out. Yeah. All right. Here's elements. Mad Lib. Darth Dryden looked at his master while his quick breathing filled the room. He was told to go to swing everything on the planet of Purgle. He got in his blaster and jumped to hyperspace. There could be a ship named Blaster. You don't know.
I'm just picturing him hop on a DL-44 and just like zoom up.
Let's see. Soon before he reached the planet, he dropped out of hyperspace and was attacked by rebel force pikes. He defenestrated them off and continued to the planet's surface. He landed and confronted more opposition, slicing it down with his whistling bird. He used the Sarlacc to choke another rebel and then bisected him aside. He finished off all life on the planet with a squirrely laugh.
I just am picturing him commanding a Sarlacc. And like, hey, choke that person. And it's like,
I'm just picturing like a mini Sarlacc on his throat. He's like,
like he has one in his pocket, like
Yeah.
you know, like on his on a Batman belt where he's can pull it off and throw it at somebody.
it's kind of like the Flurkin on Captain Marvel.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Ah,
Gosh,
There were Beastmasters in the Force, weren't there?
yes. Well, in Legends, there were Beastmasters in Legends.
Ty York could probably fit the bill.
Yeah, probably. Beast, like she's more of a hunter. I don't know if she
She's more of a
tames
hunter.
beasts.
Well, but sorry,
I
they
mean,
haven't.
that's
They haven't.
spoiler
They haven't
territory.
read it. Yeah. Read Rising Storm.
Apologies.
Read Rising Storm when it comes out, please.
Let's
All right.
talk some Bad Batch. I am been really excited about Bad Batch, seeing a lot of the characters coming back and kind of getting a little background on certain characters and a little more story on other characters. And I'm just like, all right, I hope we get more.
Yeah. It's been for me it's been a slow burn, but only because episode 1 was so up there, right? And then they kind of had to dial it back a little bit and then have that slow build up to Wrecker. We had that turn with Crosshair and we were like, oh no, what's going to happen to him? But slowly but surely, as I was watching, of course, you can see my reactions on my YouTube channel. I was counting the head bonks, and we got to the one and only bonk that turned Wrecker. And it brought us back to the one.
Back to reality.
The Rex.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it immensely myself as well. And I've been enjoying this being like kind of the perfect mixture of storytelling between Clone Wars and Rebels, where it's the Clone Wars style and theming, but at the same time we have this like smaller kind of family feel that's been going through. And yeah, I've been really enjoying having these smaller episodes. Like when you have in second or third episode, when you show Crosshair's turn, his chip has activated, and you see him take down those civilians, and you feel for him. You see him walk back in, and he doesn't mark the door of a completed mission. And then with that in the back of your mind, and you've been falling more and more in love with Wrecker, seeing him in his dad poncho and sun hat and all this stuff.
Oh man!
And then you watch him turn. Like that moment hits so hard because of all of this buildup and all the time we've spent with these characters. I've been really enjoying it. It's just like you said, it's that slow burn, but it's that slow burn that really develops each and every one of these characters. You know, every single one of them.
It's funny that you mentioned the Crosshair part where he doesn't mark the mission, and he's sitting in his bunk all dejected, because it's now put more into perspective with Wrecker, who said he knew what he was doing and tried to stop himself. And so now we go back to that scene and we understand why Crosshair looks that way, because he knows what he's doing. He just can't control it.
Right. Yeah, I that last episode with Wrecker kind of going off on that little tirade there with the chip being activated. I was kind of like, oh man, I was really hoping that he wasn't going to stay in that, or if it was going to be just maybe a 1 to 2 show arc where he was on this Order 66 kick and they could do something to get the chip out or do something, because he is my favorite character on the show. Actually, it's him and Omega together. I like the way that they interact. I like the way that they spend time together. They talk together. The whole post mission eating of snacks and running off like two little kids. It cracks me up. So
Crosshair is my favorite, but definitely Wrecker has been climbing the ranks, and I'd say I agree with you. Omega and Wrecker, besides Crosshair and the hope that Crosshair gets saved, is a favorite in the show for sure.
yeah, I'm hoping that they can do something like, because clearly they have the ability to do it. They proved that in the last episode to remove the chip. I'm hoping that they can do something to pull Crosshair back. So
Yeah, it's part of my prediction. Are we talking predictions here?
sure, go for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, so my prediction is that now that they know that they are aware of what they're doing and just unable to control it, and Rex even confirms this, when he's like, I couldn't stop it. You don't know what it's like. Then yeah, they're absolutely going to go get their brother back. But I think it's going to lead to them also realizing that all of these clones are now slaves. They're no better than droids at this point in time. And
Right.
they're going to need to break back into Camino in order to do something, change their computer system or whatnot and try to free, the rest of their brothers. And I think this is going to lead to like the actual clone uprising that we anticipate seeing. At the same time, the Kaminoans are trying to do something shady. I think they're kind of trying to start their own conflict in order to prove that clones are still necessary. And that's what's going to cause the Empire to turn on them. We're going to end with a big war between stormtroopers and clones. We'll see what happens.
Well, we know what happens. It doesn't end well. Which was one of those like, caveats for like shows that happen in between. You join them at like Rebels and there's not a lot of clones left and you're just like,
Oh.
And that's why I need them to stop putting things in this small area. You can only have so many like Force users running around secretly. You can't say you're the last Jedi and then except for Ezra and Cal and and Ahsoka, and you know what I mean. Like after a while, that's one of the reasons I'm enjoying the High Republic so much is fresh territory. We don't know where it ends.
We don't know where Ezra is, but the way I can at least reconcile with the Last Jedi is that at least by the time Luke does train, he is the last one that is doing the Jedi training, like at least upholding that side of the order from Yoda. But I share a lot of Chaco's predictions. One little tidbit I'd like to add on to that, or
Sure.
I think we're gonna get a small little payoff for that conversation with Rex and his contact. It doesn't seem like something that we would need to reconcile.
Yes.
But I'm a huge advocate for Chekhov's guns, and to show him talking to we'll meet you at the rendezvous point. To show him at least within that conversation, just like they showed him at the end with the Martez sisters, I think we're gonna get a little update as to who he's meeting. I don't think the rebels have started some substantial or consequential moves as of yet. So it's interesting to see what other players are in this story in terms of fighting the Empire.
Yeah, because I was thinking that this takes place right before Rebels, because Kanan is still young in Bad Batch.
Yeah, he's just a young Padawan at this point. So,
and if we're going off of the comics, he's like on the run.
So he's in hiding somewhere.
Yeah.
Shout out to A New Dawn if you want to see when he meets Hera. Great book.
All right, cool. All right, so what do you guys think about Omega? Who do you think she is? What do you think she is?
She's Captain Phasma. No, I'm just kidding. I kept hearing that theory. I'm like, no, that's not even no.
I love
You
Captain
have a whole Phasma book.
She's Iden Versio.
Yeah, it's Yeah, so my thoughts on Omega is Jury's still out. I can't really stick with the whole she's a mimic, although there are still clues for it. Signs are pointing to that she might be force sensitive. That's where things are pointing. I think that she is not truly a Django clone. I think she is like the first true genetic strand cast, where they have taken bits and pieces here and there, and I think that's what's going to make her valuable, because this thing is not going to truly be recreatable. I think as the thing we have to make sure stays true is that it is not easy to make a force sensitive being, and they have to really harken down on that. So I don't know. That's what I'm seeing with where they're going. I don't know if I like it, but that's what I see.
Okay.
I don't think she's force sensitive. I don't think they're going to shake that hornet's nest. I do think that she is a Strandcast and not a true 1-to-1 clone. But I still think that she has all of the Bad Batch's enhancements. So she's a Strandcast of the Bad Batch and all of their enhancements that they all have. When she says "you're first generation" to Rex, and Rex is like, "How did you know?" It's like the lines in your face and all that stuff. That to me, that screams either Hunter's awareness or Crosshair's vision. Like she's been displaying a lot of things that the Bad Batch has, like agility, natural aim. After she learns how to use the bow, she's got great aim with it now.
And that shot just past Wrecker's head was spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she's displayed a lot of things that could be considered a lot of the unnatural, but considered an amalgamation of the Bad Batch's own enhancements all together in one package. I do think someone does think that she's force sensitive. In this part of my theory, I think she is going to be phase 1 of Palpatine's efforts to create Snoke. So she, this is like a Grogu situation, but earlier. They're gonna hunt her down for her blood and her tissue and stuff like that to see what they could possibly fabricate or create out of this Strandcast. And I don't think she's force sensitive, so that's going to be a failure. And that's
because a lot of people were saying early on that this is part of the Palpatine line, that she's a Palpatine clone, and I'm like, I don't think that's it either. I think that they're trying to build, like you said, build up something to get to the point of having somewhere to go towards, like the whole Knights of Ren storyline where there's the Snoke and all that. I'm more in line with that than it's being something Palpatine related. And as far as this comment here from Cal about Cal Kestis, actually, if you watch the latest Screen Crush Easter egg review, you're going to want to watch that. It talks about the planet that they're on, all that kind of stuff. So there's a possibility of maybe even seeing Cal getting pulled in. So there's some pretty neat Easter eggs that were in the last episode that if you go to Screen Crush, Ryan Airy, former guest, we've had him on a live show and an interview, he talks about that in there. And if you're not subscribing to Screen Crush, shame on you. You should be. Ryan's got some awesome content. He's a good guy.
Shame on your family.
Pretty much, yeah.
Honor on your cow.
Especially with the end of the episode with the scrappers calling it into the Empire. I think that would be funny. Just a one-off, nothing substantial, just like notify the Empire, and then it's just like a kid Cal,
like a little boy.
If they could, I think that'd be great. Even if it was more than a one-off, I would be cool with that, because I think the game is fun, and I think the storyline would be fun to kind of head into. But let's see where it goes.
I would appreciate Easter eggs more so than cameos, because I think Chaco and I agree on this matter that Bad Batch doesn't need to become a cameo fest. Rex makes sense narratively. I'm reaching for a Quinlan Voss being Sid's Jedi contact, but that's a huge narrative reach. But seeing Ahsoka, seeing Cal Kestis, seeing all of these characters make cameos, it doesn't really make sense story wise. So yeah, I'm on the side of the fence that the show just needs to kind of stay with the Bad Batch and their story.
I hope it does.
Yeah.
No, I
Like
hope it does.
we love Ahsoka so much because we spent so much time with her throughout the Clone Wars and all these things, and so wanting Ahsoka to appear and take the focus in every other show means that we won't fall in love with those characters the same way we fell in love with Ahsoka in the first place.
Right.
I think, and as much as I loved the Mandalorian season 2, I feel like Din's own development was held back by the amount of other people in the show doing stuff. I mean, we had good stuff in the beginning, and the second to last episode was incredible, but most of
I'd
that
agree with that.
wasn't Din's development.
I'd
I
agree
don't
with
want
that.
that for the Bad Batch.
All right, cool. All right, so we had a couple other things we wanted to talk about, but like I said in the beginning, I had that whole other thing I threw at you, so we'll have to talk about Loki another time. I know that you guys are big Marvel fans as well, and I would
We
love
got
to hear
Loki
your thoughts.
theories too.
Oh man,
Hiddleston.
I wish we had a whole other hour to sit here and talk to you guys. We don't. But what we'd like to do at this point is we want to bring in our the founder of our Facebook group. This is Drayton Allen. Welcome to our show, Drayton. Your show, our show.
Hey guys, good
So-
to see you again.
Can we call
Hello.
it our show now?
Good to meet
It's
you.
our show. It's the group show. So Drayton has some really exciting news, and so I'm gonna give him the mic a moment and take it away, Drayton. I almost did it.
Well, I'm all for talking about Loki too because that's cool. So
Because Loki.
yeah, so we got a lot of interesting things going on right now, and my mother-in-law in the background here. So I have recently finished my novel, Dances with Aliens. Now this is I haven't released it yet. It's just going into beta, and we are going to be getting some feedback from some of my readers, and then we're going to be releasing it to the public. So basically, Dances with Aliens is a little bit of a fun science fiction novel that I've been working on. And basically, it's on the premise that the last man on Earth is actually a dog. But he's not a four-legged dog that goes woof, but a singing, dancing cartoon dog of the theme park variety.
A
So,
good
Loki.
cast member.
So Snoopy.
Yeah, he is he's not at Disney, okay? But it's a lot like someplace similar to that.
Right.
Basically, Earth is no longer the tenure of humans. Humans don't live here anymore. And now the theme park where Thomas has worked all his life is enjoyed by the gray, wrinkled heads that have replaced humans. And he's really perplexed. It hasn't been but a few days since all the humans disappeared in a big, massive invasion. And now he's trying to understand, the big questions in life. Basically what happened to everybody, what happened to his family and friends? How is he alive? What will happen to humanity and the planet? And the biggest question of all is, how does an intelligent race of aliens develop the technology to roam the cosmos, invade and conquer Earth, and yet not recognize a guy in a dog suit?
Yeah. That sounds interesting.
So it's a
Do you
lot
happen
of
to-
fun. I have some interesting technologies that I developed, because one of the funnest things in writing for me is developing futuristic technologies. I'll share one of them with you that won't be a spoiler, and that is the technology of multiphasic processors, who tap into processors on other dimensional planes to increase their processing power.
Ooh. That's like Swarm, but multidimensional.
So you can imagine if you have a single processor in this dimension, and then all of a sudden you put it in parallel with 1,000 other processors of the same, or basically unlimited processing in unlimited dimensions. You have quite a little processor there. So that's one of the little teasers there for the book. So I had a lot of fun writing it. I'm looking forward to getting some feedback from folks, and I'll let everybody know when it's out. And we go back.
You happen to have a cover
Yeah.
picture that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah.
I'm still confused as to why the biggest question of your dog alien person was why he was attracted to parked car bumpers.
Yeah, right. Well, and his biggest thing is should he go with the whole dog thing, or should he, just try to be a human again?
Why do I sniff garbage and I chase cars?
Right. Let's see. Does this?
Why is that hydrant irresistible?
Does my screen share work? I don't know if my screen sharing's turned on. Now it's doing the whole screen, isn't it? It's not doing the one that I popped up. Oh, cool!
Whoa.
It's that
That is-
multiphasic.
That
That was a little
technology is real, Drayton.
Yes, it is. All right, you can see that this is the working book cover for the novel.
Cool.
Dances with Aliens. You might have heard of another movie with a similar title, and it shares some themes about some of the same sort of issues that were in that movie. And I won't give away too much, but
So at some point, the aliens are going to be like, "Get, like, you don't belong here anymore," and he's going to be sad. I can see it.
there'll be some revelations along the way because he finds out he's not the only person who survived.
All right.
Whoa.
So when that comes out, Drayton, where will people be able to find it?
Well, you're going to be able to find it all over the place, hopefully. Now, it will be, of course, on Amazon. It will be on my website, and we will see. The actual date will depend on whether or not we get a publisher in here, or whether I go ahead and do a Kickstarter like I did my other novels and just launch it myself, because it takes forever to get a book published, and I don't want to wait that long.
All right, fair enough. All right, well, we've got just about 2 minutes left here. Drayton, thank you for popping in and telling everybody about your book. We're all looking forward to that, I'm sure.
Loki stuff, because I watched Loki.
Yeah.
It was great.
We got like 2 minutes till we talk about Loki. So
No, we're
Loki.
not gonna have time to talk about Loki. I want to make sure that everybody knows. Element 7, Darth Chocolate, please tell everybody where they can find you.
TikTok.
I know we did this at the beginning, but do it again.
Yeah. TikTok, it's at _element7_. On Twitter, it's at element7x spelled out. On YouTube, it's element7. And that's it.
Okay.
Yep, and
Choco?
I'm Darth Choco on YouTube, on TikTok, which is where the bulk of my content is right now, but I'm trying to switch and do more YouTube. Darth Choco 7 on Twitter, and that's all you need to worry about right now. Also, don't trust the TVA; they are sus. TVA is
That 7 part of his social tag was a Dyad energy moment.
All right. So, and then of course, Choco, you've got the high ground.
Oh yes, High Ground Podcast, as well as Element 7 and I do Dyad in the Force every weekend, typically every Saturday.
All right, cool. Now, coming up for our show this week, being released on Friday, will be, now you saw him last week here on our live show, the Matt Man Show, our previous interview with him. That'll be coming up this week, and you guys want to make sure that you guys check that out.
should we put a motion sickness warning on that one?
There might be. So it was a little bit of handheld love. And
Should Choco's camera come with a motion sickness warning?
no, actually, his is actually kind of mesmerizing. The more I watch it, the more I'm like, I think I know where there's the laser blasters. I'm like trying to.
There you go.
Anyway, it's
Oh, he doesn't need the trench run to be mesmerizing.
there. It is.
All right, I'm back in space.
All right. Well, the Death Star just exploded. It's fun.
You did
All right,
it!
guys.
Hey, I want to put
All right.
another pitch real quick. Tim also does another podcast called Focused on Forward. A little bit off the science fiction thing, but catch that too, because Tim does an excellent job with these.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't know that. I will check that out.
Yeah.
Focus on
Yeah.
forward.
Make sure you
Yeah.
have Kleenex.
Hang out after our conclusion here. I'll give you guys more information about it.
Yeah.
But we gotta jump off here. That's our time, guys.
That's it.
On behalf of the rest of the hosts of Funny Science Fiction, we'd like to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on one of our future episodes, please contact us by means of our Facebook group, Funny Science Fiction. You can find us on Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FunnySci-Fi, or you can go to DraytonAllen.com and click the Contact Me link at the bottom of the page. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed the episode.